don't forget, kiddos, I'm still giving away a pile of comics, a whole mini stack of comics, in the form of digital codes. A couple videos ago, I gave away the details, or released the details of that, what books I'm giving away, and whatnot. And if you want to enter, it's real easy. You'll probably win at least one book. Just be a subscriber, like the videos. Comment down below that you entered the contest. Just say I entered. And all that means is you subscribed and you like the video. I'll get in contact with you via actually if you want to contact me via my work email, it's on the about page. That would be more convenient, but a comment's okay too. I'll get back to you and I'll send you the digital code, and you'll have free comics for nothing. So yeah, that sounds pretty good. Show the video. Hey everyone, I'm doing a comic book review of The Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is obviously a reprint of that book. We're not doing the whole thing because, quite frankly, it's a large book. We'll be doing The Amazing Spider-Man #1, like the main story that everybody probably remembers. And that's Spider-Man versus the Chameleon, which is, of course, the first appearance of the Chameleon and the first encounter that Spider-Man ever has with the Fantastic Four. So, Steve Ditko's art is a pretty mixed bag for me. Overall, I don't think he's a great artist. I'm going to be honest. He has his moments and he has his scenes that work really well. I think he's a good character designer. I don't think he's necessarily a good artist, because he's consistently excellent at designing costumes and stuff, but he's not very good at consistently good artwork. Now this here isn't bad at all. This is a pretty good splash page. We get the credits: Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, of course, John Duffy. Nice big sort of city landscape here. Spider-Man swinging in from the right. Big chameleon, very imposing. One arm's a bit disproportionately long though, which is a bit odd. Anyway, we get the Fantastic Four teased. We start off, Peter Parker's just thinking to himself, and he goes for a bit of a swing. He's thinking, I'm always being picked on by J. Jonah Jameson and stuff. I bet if I was part of a superhero team like the Fantastic Four, people treat me a little differently, treat me with some respect. And he calls himself Peter Palmer in his head, so he screws up his own name, which is one mistake that for some reason they've always kept in reprints, despite editing out other mistakes. So anyways, he breaks into the Baxter building. But of course the security system is designed by Reed Richards, so he is detected because he didn't do any preparation. He just sort of waltzed in, expecting them to welcome him with open arms. And he kind of shows up the Fantastic Four. He tears through Reed's security system chamber thing, the plexiglass chamber. He the Thing tries to fight him, but he tosses the Thing. He just whips the ass out of the Fantastic Four in just a couple of pages here. He webs up Reed. Sue tries to come in and get him with a lasso, but of course his spider sense is triggered, so he reverses it by pulling the rope from her at a high velocity, spinning her around into dizziness or whatever. So after being embarrassed over at that panel, the Human Torch tries to give Spider-Man a run for his money. And they sort of tussle around the room for a bit, and it doesn't go very well for them. But yeah, Spider-Man gives them his pitch or whatever. He's like, "Oh, I was able to outfight all four of you, and you're the greatest superheroes on Earth or whatever. So how's about a job?" And they're like, "No, sorry, mate. We're the Fantastic Four. We're a family, you know? We're not just a team of superheroes." So he's like, "All right, I'm out of here." uh, so the Fantastic Four are like, "Wow, he's really powerful, you know? He's really good at what he does. And he's only a kid. Imagine how much potential he has in the future." So that's sort of some unintentional foreshadowing for later Spider-Man and Fantastic Four stories. But anyway, yeah, we see the Chameleon. This is the first time he properly appears. He's got this guy held hostage, and he constructs a perfect mask of him and puts on like a little toupee sort of thing, and impersonates this guy. You can see his rack of masks and disguises and whatnot. I think the Chameleon's a really interesting villain who doesn't get enough attention. He's not really treated properly most of the time. Anyway, so the Chameleon gets the idea of impersonating Spider-Man and committing all these crimes without, like, because he can't obviously figure out Peter Parker's web shooters, because while he's smart, he's not Peter Parker smart. So instead he uses a web gun, like the original concept for Spider-Man, or like Spider-Boy would later use, the Amalgam character from the 90s. Anyway, so he steals a bunch of blueprints and designs and stuff, and he escapes onto the rooftop where he's about to fly away in a helicopter. And then the real Spider-Man shows up, and the cops are like, "Hey, you Spider-Man, what the hell are you doing trying to steal our crap, bro?" So, so he webs him up. He escapes, and he's in pursuit of the Chameleon. This is cool. This is another thing that we see for the very first time in this book. It's the web, the web. It's such a famous thing, and I use the term all the time. Web shot uses the web shot, the slingshot webbing, and he flings himself across the map like in the Spider-Man video games, or like in the Spider-Man 2 movie. Anyway, yeah, this is back when Peter could pretty much do anything with his webs. So he makes a little parachute, and he steals a boat. He hijacks a boat and drives it out to this little submarine. And from there he can try to get on the helicopter of the Chameleon, and he tips over. So this should be it for the Chameleon, because as you'd imagine, the massive force generated by the propeller that's keeping the helicopter up should be flipped, so it should be equally equally repulsive to the ground this way. So when he flips, instead of keeping itself down, it should be keeping itself up. So it should be flying up and completely out of control of the Chameleon, and he shouldn't be able to get it back on track, but he does. And Spider-Man is able to apprehend him briefly, bring him to the authorities. But unfortunately, the Chameleon had a contingency plan, and he drops a smoke pellet and escapes and disguises himself as one of the police officers. Spider-Man does, however, notice this because of his spider sense. And like, see how inconsistent the eyes are and the webs and the spider are? It's just really annoying. Like, okay, so the arms of the spider are going like all different directions here, but over here, they're facing one way. You know, on the cover they're that way, and the spider changes sizes as well constantly. It's really annoying. You don't see that sort of inconsistency with other artists of the time, so it's definitely not a period thing exclusively. Anyway, so the Spider-Man sees through, you know, his silly little tricks. So you know, Spider-Man captures the Chameleon and brings him to justice. and you know, Peter Parker is, you know, he's fresh from the murder of Uncle Ben, so he's still, you know, he's still going through the growing pains of being Spider-Man, so he's upset, you know, because nobody understands him. He's just trying to do good and help everybody out, but you know, they're attacking him in the media, and you know, everybody's trying to apprehend him and whatnot. But anyway, he's yeah. This is this is another bit where the Fantastic Four talk about his potential and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, if a teenager could be so blame strong, how strong will he be when he gets older? Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to dwell on that for too long. I was just reading the panels. I really like the artwork here as well in this one panel. So it looks like Jack Kirby. He did well enough to emulate Jack Kirby's art, but yeah. So that's the story. And then we get an ad for all the other stuff Spider-Man related coming out that month. But I suppose we'll briefly go through some of the other art in the book. I'll probably do a video on Steve Ditko at some point. But yeah, you know, you can see that Peter Parker is pretty inconsistent in size, you know. But I don't think it's too inconsistent. You know, if you weren't paying attention, you probably wouldn't notice. But Aunt May, in comparison to Peter Parker, is constantly different throughout the books that Steve Ditko draws. I do like this panel, but you see, like, she's just shy of his height, and then over here, you know, she's you know, he's back there, and he's still about that much taller. So if he were to walk up, he'd be pretty significantly taller than she is. But yes, I don't think Stanley really understands science, so it's just Peter Parker playing with chemicals because he's doing the science. Yeah. This panel here looks very Spider-Man 66. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a quick flip through, and then we're gonna be done with this video. I just wanted to show off a bit more of the artwork, as I said. Come on, that's child standards. Well, here's another inconsistency. Look how inconsistently bulked Peter Parker is. He looks like he has muscles, but they're very like toned down muscles, and he doesn't have any abs or anything here. But if we go back a few pages, you know, he's got abs, and he's clearly very toned and buff and stuff. He's like a slimmer superhero, but he still has muscles. But like there, it's just sort of like a normal guy. But yeah, I actually do like you know, all the older Spider-Man stuff. It's just obviously, like anything, it has its problems. But yeah, that's it for today. See you later.